All Things Motoring is owned and brought to you by CHANGECARS, South Africa's trusted online vehicle platform. Whether you're looking to buy, sell or just need advice, visit changecars.co.za.
This week on All Things Motoring, we head to the Vaal with some of the biggest and oldest car clubs in South Africa. This year is MG Centenary, so we caught up with a few enthusiasts to chat about their love for all things MG.
Gugu, it doesn't take a lot to make us smile, but today there's an extra big smile for a couple of reasons. What we're driving and where we are. Where are we today?
We're on the R55 today at this little stop here, and we're not just here to have...
Not on the R55, mate.
What is it?
R59.
R59,
Yeah.
close enough.
You got lost.
But we're not just here for tea and scones. The nice thing about this is that the MG Club is here, and they're hosting what's the
So it's the annual function, but all motor clubs are invited. The motor clubs fall under an organization called SAMCA. Sorry for the noise, but it is magnificent being here. So I was saying to you about SAMCA, that's the South African Motor Club Association. You've got the Mazda Club, you've got Fiat's here, you've got Lanciers here.
You've got Maserati
and how many beautiful, incredible AC Cobras.
So those are putting a smile on my face. You've got the AC Cobra Club, and they're the guys actually making most of the noise you're hearing.
From here, we're heading out to a place called Stonehaven on Vaal. Beautiful facility on the Vaal River. Not going there to be on the Vaal River, going there to admire the incredible classics.
Yep.
Please follow us, enjoy. We've got a show ahead for you that is going to make you smile. Heading out, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
So Gugu, I've got a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine from 1982. What is the size of your engine and what year?
Look, Mark, it's been said that only milk comes in 2 liters. I'm in a 5-liter V8, 2002 Mercedes-Benz SL500.
Okay, and roughly 2020. So I like your chirp about milk coming in 2 liters, but how would you explain the superior driving ability, the fact that I'm ahead of you at all times? I'm just asking for a friend.
Look, friend, this is what friends do. Friends put friends first. So the fact that you're ahead is because I'm your friend.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Today we're at the beautiful Stonehaven on Vaal Resort for a magnificent event. It's the MG Club Centenary Run, 100 years. But for a day like today to be put together, there has to be so many things that happen in the background. I have the privilege of speaking to Craig Anderson. You are the Honorary Life President of SAMCA. Please tell us, our viewers, what does SAMCA stand for first, and a little bit about yourself and the club.
Right, SAMCA started 35 odd years ago as a knee-jerk reaction to the petrol rationing in the day, so as to enable our people to get permits to get petrol.
In those days there was a shortage of petrol, today there's just a shortage of money for petrol.
True. And that was the founding reason for it. It was originally founded as the South African Mark Clubs Association, a mark being a make like MG,
Yes.
Citroen or Rolls. We then found that there were clubs that were multi-mark clubs that didn't have a home anywhere else, and we are affiliated to Motorsport South Africa. So to enable them to have access to everything they needed, we changed and became the South African Motor Clubs Association.
Fantastic. So that was a lot of vision at the time, and that vision has clearly paid off because it is so crystal clear. The motoring club culture in South Africa is very real and it's very healthy. Today, besides MG, roughly how many clubs will be here?
We have 30 constituent members.
Right.
Sometimes clubs that are not members also come along and play at our events. So probably represented today would be about 15 odd clubs, I would think.
Beautiful. how many events like this roughly in the year would there be?
Okay, from a SAMCA standpoint,
Yeah.
we organise 2 events a year, each of which is organised by one of our member clubs on our behalf. This is one which is organised by the MG Club as their VAR run in January. Then we do Angela's Picnic, which is on the first Sunday of April every year, in memory of a lady called Angela Heinz, who, because she died of cancer, the proceeds of which go to hospice in their entirety.
That is beautiful.
And we have there up to 2,000 cars come. Today we have about 150 cars on the run. Our constituent clubs obviously each have 2 to 3 events per month through the year.
That is why I said it is so healthy. Now Craig, you are not alone. You're the Honorary Life President.
Correct.
But you have a co-Honorary Life President as well, Norman Ewing.
Correct.
Related to JR? Is he a much nicer guy?
Much nicer guy, not nearly as Machiavellian.
Thank you so much for sharing with us what is an exceptional event, and we know what it takes to put something like this together. To all the members of SAMCA, well done, and may the tradition continue for a long time to come.
I see Norman standing in the background behind you with a shield under his arm, if you'd like to go and chat to him. He is Mr. MG worldwide.
Oh, that is
He'll tell you that the MG Club in England is the biggest car club in the world.
Yeah.
And he's an honorary president there too.
I'm going to impress him by telling him I know what MG stands for. Morris Garage.
Correct.
Awesome. Thanks for chatting to us, Craig.
Pleasure indeed. Have a lovely day.
So Norman, Craig has told me all about you, but I think with your experience, there's a lot more to learn. Tell us a little bit about your current position, your history, your passion and pride for the brand that is MG.
Well, I started the MG Car Club in Joburg in memory of a friend who died, Robin Hartgill, and I actually started SAMCA in our lounge in Ivy Road, Norwood, because the petrol controller wouldn't give us fuel.
Amazing.
And so the only way we could get fuel was to be nationally recognised, internationally recognised, and the only way to do that was through the MG Car Club, which we then did.
That is amazing. So for our viewers, again, every single thing that we have today has a history, and because of history, we are proud and lucky enough to be celebrating today. In your hand, you're holding something that is clearly treasured, because not myself, not my crew are allowed to touch us. Tell us about that.
This is something that was given to me by my wife. It is actually a copy of a 1923 advert. And the amazing thing about it was for years the MG Car Club worldwide has said 1924 is the centenary. And it took me 2 years to convince them they had the wrong year. And I was able to produce adverts that proved the fact that this is in fact the centenary of MG.
I officially endorse that. Now what is incredible is a picture is of a yellow MG. Behind us is another yellow one. Please tell us about the significance of the yellow.
Well, I have no idea why he had the first car made yellow, but I decided I wanted a yellow car. And this car was actually handed over to me by MG Rover on Cecil Kimber, the man who started MG, on his birthday on the 12th of April 2003.
Congratulations. Now, if we take MG in South Africa, again, it will never be a 100% accurate figure, but how many MGs, including the newer stuff, would you imagine there is in the country?
Well, I would think close to 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah. There was a time when Joburg were very short of 500 members. And nationally we had well over 1,200 members at one stage. But we've lost a lot of cars, we've lost a lot of people.
Of course.
And,
due to immigration, you
immigration and old age, you know.
Yeah.
I'm 82, so you know, nothing lasts forever.
Well, take it as the ultimate compliment. You may be 82, but you don't act your age.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Now, the ethos of the MG Club. I mean, every club has got something. When you see members of the MG, the hats, what is the ethos of the club, in your opinion?
It's a family. It's a worldwide family. When I brought people, actually how it started here in a big way, we had a national gathering every year, every 2 years. And I was in Holland, and I was invited by an Australian to an event in a NAT meet in Australia. And I said, Nat meet, that sounds like a political party meeting. Why don't you call it the Jamboree, a lovely Aussie name? He said, oh, we'd never do that. So I came back, asked my good Zulu man in our department what the word used for a meeting was, and he told me Indaba. And so from that moment on, they've been MG Indabas and are known worldwide as MG Indabas.
Amazing. Now, there are many, many historic brands. You take Porsche, you take Ferrari, you take Alfa Romeo, made in right-hand drive, made in left-hand drive. Am I correct in saying you do not get a left-hand drive MG?
Oh, you do.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. They sold the most of them in the United States.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes. The only car that was right-hand drive that went to the States was the TC. And the TC was a very famous car because guys like Shelby, his first race ever in his life, Carroll Shelby, the man who, the Cobra man, his first race he won in a TC and he beat an XK 140. That's what he told me.
That's amazing. Now, for me, that is the incredible thing about our show. I can truthfully say to you, our questions are unrehearsed. I tried to the best of my ability, do a little bit of checking on history, but I was fully unaware that they're left-hand drive MGs. Shows you, you're never too old to learn.
Absolutely.
Especially not at my age.
And I'll tell you, the right-hand drives were driven by Phil Hill, the first time ever, Jack Brabham. So there were people, Paddy Hopkirk, who drove the Innes Island, who all drove these cars at the time that was what you drove in England. And the myth was that the American troops fell in love with the MGs after the war and took their war brides and their MGs back. They've tried to quash that by saying no, they didn't come from England. They didn't come from England. They were actually sold to the Woodhouse company in Cologne, in the British sector in Germany, and more than 64 TCs went back from Cologne to the United States.
Now, when you speak about Phil Hill, the first American Formula One world champion, Jack Brabham, the first Australian world champion, double world champion, in fact, 1959 and 1960. The first, little bit of an anomaly about Jack Brabham, he was the first man to ever design and own his own car. And I'm a huge Formula One fan. Right. My hero drove a Brabham in 1983 to win the world title, Nelson Piquet. So I've got an incredible affection for Jack Brabham. What is so clear for me is the culture, and I said this to Craig as well, the culture is strong in South Africa, and you would think in a way it would be weakening. I get the impression it's strengthening. Am I wrong on that?
Well, I don't know that it can strengthen without youth coming into it. There's your problem. But certainly the club worldwide is still incredibly strong. It's like a huge family. I've been invited over to Silverstone to stay with people and given an MG to drive. You know, that kind of thing makes it possible.
But that's because of who you are.
No, because exactly the same thing happens to people coming to this country. I lend them cars and so they do exactly the same thing. So it is like a family.
Norman, we're celebrating 100 years. Both you and me, unfortunately, won't be around for the next 100. Or unlikely I will be. But here is to the next 100. Thank you for taking the time to chat to us.
Thank you very much.
And may the club, the members, and the whole SAMCA organization go from strength to strength.
Thank you very much.
Anyone who follows motorsport knows about the iconic Ferrari team and the scarlet red color. Equally, British Racing Green is a very famous color. Behind us, the most beautiful 1980 MG. But I'm chatting to Colin Black, who I consider like the United Nations of the motor club world. You're a member, and you're going to tell us a bit more about it, of the Renault Club, of the Alfa Club, and the MG. Italian, French, and British. World War II, the United Nations needed you.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Thanks for the opportunity to speak here today. It's a kind of a hard act to follow after Mr. MG himself, Norman Ewing. But yes, I founded the Renault Club in this country. I was the founding chairman the way back in September 1983. I was instrumental in getting that mark involved in SAMCA, which is the South African Mark Club Association. I've also been a member of the Alfa Romeo Club. All three of these marks have a special place in my life. Why? Because it's what I know. I maintain them all myself and I restore them myself.
I have to ask you, maintenance, which is the most difficult? I think I know the answer. Starts with the A.
I think the most difficult thing about maintenance is to get my wife to bring me a cup of tea in the garage every hour. No, it's just in the blood. It's a passion, and it's what we do.
But now, talking about maintenance, and you say it's in your blood and it's a passion, what you do, is that your happy place when you're literally tinkering with something that you know very few people would know how to get right?
Well, this is it. I must just at this time say a big thanks to my late dad. My dad raced motorcycles after the Second World War in this country with the likes of Beppe Castellani and Cran Jarman and company. And he taught me everything I know. So, yeah, I guess I could say I'm a chip off the old block.
That's incredible. Now, as a proud father, I promise you, I'll get almost teary. I've got a little 12-year-old boy. He's been on the show, Jaden. To hear you speak about your dad like that brings literally a tear to my eye.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thanks a lot. It's nice to represent the MG Car Club here today. Our chairman, Jonathan, said he was a bit camera shy. Well, I'm too silly to be camera shy. So, yeah, on behalf of the MG Car Club, Joburg Centre and Northern Centre, thanks to everybody for being here today.
I love it. For all our viewers out there, this is an incredible mark. If you've got a story to share about the incredible brand that is MG, please write into info@allthingsmotoring.co.za and share it with us. Thank you so much for chatting to us, and maybe not the next 100, but to the next 50. Let's start with a half century.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
We've had another incredible day. Gugu, there are a couple of elements that make a day like today come together. The weather, tick the box. The setting, I think it's fair to say you don't get better than this.
Lovely.
The cars, amazing. But cars don't talk back.
Well, that's why we have these lovely guys over here, right? Marius, Mike.
That's it, yes.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys as well. Thank you. So if I could start with you, Marius, you've got a very important position. Head of the, what club is it?
Renault Club ZA.
When people say you wear your heart on your sleeve, you wear your heart on your sleeve and tattooed on your forehead.
I am tattooed on my forehead, that's correct, yes.
Tell us about the Renault Club of South Africa.
Right, the Renault Club South Africa started actually in the late 70s when people realized with Renault moving out of South Africa that there will be a need for guys with the same passion and love for cars to get together and preserve these vehicles and look after them. And then figures dwindled, and in 1983 Colin Black revived the club again, and since then the club, which used to be a Pretoria branch and a Johannesburg branch, they amalgamated, and then it was called the Rand Renault Club at that stage. And years later, with computer technology and so, we renamed the club to Renault Club ZA, so it's easier for people to follow, to search on the internet and so. And we are actually celebrating this year our 40th birthday of the Rand, or the Renault Club ZA as it is now.
Huge congratulations. So
Yes.
for our French viewers, when we as South Africans talk about Renault, we actually mean Renault for you.
Renault.
Gugu, yourself, how do you pronounce the brand?
I pronounce it Renault.
Renault.
Yeah.
Very South
Renault,
African.
very South African. They know what we mean, the French.
But now, Marius, today the club obviously doing very well. We saw an incredible turnout here. Roughly how many members would you know offhand?
We've got about 30 members around the Gauteng area. Then there's also a branch in the Western Province with sort of the same figures. And we've got members as far as Dundee, Newcastle and so, yeah. So our members are all over the country. And whenever we have events where they can join in, we try and get them involved as well.
Well, please know any event that you have, we would love to join.
So Mike, I just want to chat a bit about you now.
Anytime, with pleasure.
No, not you, the other Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Mike, so
Me, no.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You also involved with Renault, but on the racing side.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got a Gordini I bought in '94, and then I joined with the Gordini. I joined the Renault Club, in about 94, 95. And I met, it was then the then chairman, Frans Cronje, and together we found a Renault that was stuck in the long grass somewhere in the south, which actually turned out to be the ex-Monte Carlo car, which was driven by Chris Swanepoel and won in 1970. They won their class. It was bought by Renault Africa and converted to a rally car. It then was sold on to a guy called Rick Davies. He turned it into a production modified car. We found it amongst a pile of grass, refurbished it, rebuilt it. In our first race was 2000. France raced it the first year, and since 2001 I've been racing it. And we're still going strong. We've had a lot of fun years, won a lot of trophies, broken a lot of engines, put a lot of oil on the track.
I was wondering where that oil came from on the track, actually.
I don't know, because my dipstick was still full when I came into the pit.
Now, Mike, for our viewers, I mean, we all know about the performance components of certain brands. I've often spoken about M for BMW, AMG for Mercedes, Gordini. Tell us what about Gordini specifically, because it's a name that I know I've heard. I'm sure some of our viewers have heard, but more than likely our younger viewers won't know the Gordini brand. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, well, it's known as the G, as we like to call it. It was just an icon in its time. It used to fight above its weight level. It used to take on the V8s, used to take on the Piranha.
Like the Gugu of engines.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, correct. And yeah, we always just had a passion for it. It was a great handling car. It was a Renault motor car, which the motor was developed by Gordini himself, so it was kind of privately done. Gave it a crossflow head, 40 Weber carburetors, fine-tuned it, and it was a hell of a performing car for its time.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
So from our point of view, been lovely speaking to you. If there's any Renault event that you'd like to invite us to, what do we always say, Gugu?
We're there. We are there.
Welcome.
The answer is yes. What is the question? Is my famous saying. Lovely chatting to you guys.
And you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for your
very
time.
much. Thank you very much.
There he goes.
I would like to reveal the world's worst kept secret. I'm passionate about life and I'm passionate about cars. Naturally, I'm passionate about the show. The one thing that I absolutely love about the show, working with Gugu and my incredible team, is the incredible people that we get to meet literally on a daily basis. People write in, people phone in, and it's in this regard that I'd like to invite the fans. If you have anything that you would like to sell, any special car, can be from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, you get the picture. Please write in or call me. I'm super easy to get hold of. Visit either changecars.co.za or allthingsmotoring.co.za, and it'll be my pleasure to interact with you. I've got to go. I've got a beautiful Lancia to go home in.
Coming up next week, Gugu heads to Swartkorps Raceway for the 22nd Passion for Speed event, while Michael globetrots in search of all things motoring.
Four TCs went back from Cologne to the United States.
Is that supposed to happen in the middle of an interview? So, start dancing, man. That's it. I just need to put this off. Sorry.
Joining you, but you going? Look at it. Okay?
All Things Motoring is owned and brought to you by CHANGECARS, South Africa's trusted online vehicle platform. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just need advice, visit changecars.co.za.